on Chickamauga Lake. It's beautiful out here this morning. I'd say it's probably about 70 degrees right now already. And it's going to get pretty warm later. I think our bite's going to be fairly early. We're going to get in around here and work some of this grass and some of these areas, these shallower areas that come in off the main river channel. And I think we're going to be able to pick up some fish and have a pretty good morning. So let's see how it goes. Nice little fish here. Good little start. This fish was on a little point over here. And just a little buck bass. But pretty fish, good start for the morning. And he was right where I thought he would be. I believe they're going to be laid up on these points off the river channel where this water gets more shallow. Gonna keep working around these grass beds.
Dayton says, get the net. Look at that.
Another pretty fish here. This fish was a little bit closer into the grass than the other fish was. This one's a little tighter in. And you can tell how deep they're eating that topwater bait this morning. That's a beautiful, beautiful fish here, guys. Love it. It's Chickamauga bass or something else. Get on back home. Let's catch us another. Richard, I believe. I pulled it back. I stuck on the had to get a little bit deeper water. The problem we were running into, where we just now were, the water was just a little bit too shallow up by the grass. And we had to get back into some of that deeper water. I got to where I couldn't see that mud no more. And there's a fish on the very first one there. Another good little fish here. Again, I got back into more, a little bit deeper water. They're just not, where it's more shallow, they're just not in it. They want to be in 4, seems to be about 4 foot, doesn't it?
Yeah, close to that.
just another little fish. You know, we hadn't caught a lot of fish with size today, but we caught a lot of fish, and that's always fun. All right, go ahead and get the hook out of him. Just a little old bitty thing there, but he's pretty. Get back in there and catch his mama. Just working this real slow. You can see what I'm using. It's just a little, we're just matching the hatch this morning pretty much. Simple case of that. I've just got a little spook here. It's a little 3-inch. And moving it in around these grass beds. We've tried some docks and things, but they just seem to be holding on the grass. That's where most of our bait is. Therefore, it's where most of our bass are. What I meant a while ago by being in deeper water, we're not in deep water, but along the grass line where we're at right now, it's 3 or 4 foot of water deep, and we keep coming on these flats where it's inches at a time, and these pockets where it's 3 and 4 foot deep, that's where these fish are. That'll just show you though, the size of bait that one of these fish will try to grab, man. I mean, that little old fish right there ain't as big as this little spook hardly. And he ate that bait. And he ate it good. Look how little that fish is compared to the bait. He was a feisty little fella. He got me all wound up in my net. I'm gonna have to do surgery on my net on this one. What I want to say that I think is important about this morning and how we found the fish that we have, we fished the riverside and the backside of these grass beds, and the fish just aren't on the riverside of the beds. They're on the back. So they're getting out of that main current, that main river. And they're loading it to the back side of these grass beds. We didn't have any luck on the front side of the beds at all. But the back side we've had real good luck. you're actually simulating is a wounded bait fish. It's not a swimmer like a swim bait or whatever necessarily. It's a wounded bait fish. So you want to show distress. Kick it around, let it sit still a second. Kick it around, let it sit still a second. Just imagine the minnow, flopping around that's dying. I think he's better to be around here. I had too much slack in the line and then how I pulled it. There he is. That's a pretty fish right there. I actually just had what I think was a bigger fish than this hit that bait and spit it. But that's a good fish. I let him back. You know, guys, it's been a fantastic day today out here on Chickamauga bass fishing. Bats in the hatch is what it's all about. We've seen all kinds of little shiners and shad in here today. They're 3 or 4 inches long, little silver shad. It's exactly what you want to do. Make sure you're just fishing with whatever it is that's swimming around in here. Now I'm throwing, this is a Phoenix Maxim rod here, and this is a 6-foot 10-inch rod, just a medium weight spinning rod. I've got 8-pound canine braid on it, and I've got just about a 2-foot fluorocarbon leader right there on the end of it. And I'll be honest, I had that set up for fishing a Ned rig. It's not as important with this top water as it would be with a Ned rig, but the bait that I'm throwing is just a very just live looking shad bait here. This is a spook, just a 3-inch little Zorro spook. And this has been a great bait for me over the years anyway. I had a feeling this morning, because of what we were seeing as far as bait in the water, that was going to be what we would need to be using, and it paid off. We've caught fish on this bait all day long. I've worked these grass lines and tried to stay in 3 to 5 foot of water against the grass line, and that's where they've been laying at. So we've caught them in these cuts. I told Richard I have felt a lot this morning like we've been red fishing out on the bayou or something, because we're fishing a lot of these grass cuts, and these fish are in the grass cuts on these points, but they're on the opposite side. They're not on the river side of these grass cuts. They're on the opposite side, out of the current and out of the channel. So we've come up through here and been catching them that way, just kind of walking this. So when you're walking in the water, the back end of this bait's actually down in the water like this, and you're walking it, so to speak, like this. So it's a zigzag kind of motion. And that zigzag motion, after I do that 2 or 3 times, I'll let it stop and rest, which will let the front end set down. And a lot of times you'll get a strike right when the front end sets down like that. Or a lot of times you'll get a strike right as you cast it and it hits the water. So summertime, there's not many things better to catch bass on than topwater baits. And I tell you, in my opinion, there's nothing funner to catch them on than topwater baits. Getting to watch them come up and crash these baits this morning, Rich and I have had a great time doing it. So get out there, catch some summertime bass on some topwater. I also like to go down to a smaller bait like this whenever it starts getting hot, rather than throwing a 4-inch. I threw a 4-inch frog last time we were fishing topwater. But as it gets hotter, and we get in a little bit more clear water like we are today on Chickamauga, I go to a little bit smaller bait. And as y'all see today, you can catch everything from a good sized bass on it to a bass that's about the size of the bait. So anything will eat this out there, an aggressive predator fish, and they're gonna eat it. We're gonna get ready to head back to the marina. It's time to catch a little lunch. We'll see y'all back here in a minute in the studio with some more Southern Woods and Waters.